Hello, let's have a look at some Monster in My Pocket toys and relax. Monster in My Pocket was a toy line made by Matchbox toys from 1989 all the way through to 2006. It was a range of small static monster toys based on mythology and folk tales. Part of the reason Pokemon is called Pokemon in the West and not Pocket Monsters, which is the more literal translation, is precisely because of this toy line and its similarity to the phrase Pocket Monsters. So let's start having a look at some of these little monsters. So this is the first monster. All the monsters are the early ones are squishy rubber and they all have points values on them. So I'm reading from the guide I've got to Monster in My Pocket, the little leaflet that came with some of the toys. And these early ones I do have descriptions of. So this apparently is a red cap. It's a Scottish monster, an evil goblin who lives in old ruins and dyes his cap with blood. And he's 10 points. That's quite nice. And now we move on to a zombie. The description is a zombie is a dead person who has been reanimated, used as a weapon. He can't be killed. Well, if you watch The Walking Dead, this sort of can be, I suppose. And now we move on to a chimera. It's a Greek monster. It's a fire-breathing lion with a goat's head on its back and a snake's tail. So that's 10 points. Quite nice. Here we have a mad scientist, a crazy genius who made a potion to bring out the violence buried in every person. It's obviously based on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And again, 10 points, quite nice. We're actually going to go to a weaker monster now. This is a mummy Egyptian. This dead person has risen to get revenge on anyone who disturbs his rest. He's only 5 points. Charon, Greek, a cruel, filthy old man that ferries the souls of the dead into Hades. I always thought he was carrying a spade, but obviously it's his oar for rowing his boat over. Is it the river Styx? I think here's a classic image. Anyone would easily recognise this as being a witch. Female who practices black magic with potions, curses and spells. And she's in a rather funky yellow. That's 5 points, quite nice. I always like this one because he seems so happy and jolly. He's Spring-Heeled Jack. He's an English monster. He's got eyes of flame and can jump hundreds of feet. And he's a bogeyman. 5 points for him as well. This is more science fiction, I would think, but I always like this one because you can see him unwrapping his scarf, his face there. He's the invisible man, a mad scientist who made himself invisible to commit crimes. More science fiction, I would think, than folklore, but still a lot of fun nonetheless. Here's something that we've got inside every one of us. It's a skeleton. And it's described as human bones which capture people as revenge. Revenge for what? Who's doing that? Why? Human bones that capture... What? Skeleton? Not quite sure why they've reanimated or for what reason. But anyway, that's a skeleton. Another 5, and that's 5 points, that's quite nice. Another one is the hunchback. A horribly disfigured man that lives in towers who dumps hot melted lead on his victims. Obviously it's based on Quasimodo, Hunchback of Notre Dame, that famous novel by Victor Hugo. Apparently Victor Hugo, when he wrote the novel, noticed how Notre Dame was quite run down and decrepit, and he partly wrote the novel to as a tribute to Notre Dame. And after the success of the novel, Notre Dame once again became very popular in France and around the world. Sadly, of course, it recently burned down. And we've got now a monster from Japan, the Tengu. Japanese. These winged beasts capture those who are in the forests after dark. And he's a 20-point monster. Now we must release a monster. Release the Kraken. A sea creature so huge sailors mistake it for an island and get their ships crushed by it. It's also quite a nice brand of rum. The monster. Violent creature made up of pieces robbed from graves and then brought back to life. So it's a Frankenstein. It's Frankenstein's monster, and he's a 15-pointer. Got the bolt through the head there, that's quite a nice detail. Again, classic science fiction. Right, moving on now to a controversial monster, because this is actually Hindu goddess. It's Kali. It's described as the Hindu goddess of destructive forces with skin that sheds like a snake. Now, when these were released, they caused a lot of controversy in the Hindu community, particularly in Britain, who said, you know, these are our gods, you shouldn't be portraying them as monsters. And as well as Kali, they also brought in Ganesh, the elephant-faced god. So they did it twice. I can understand perhaps the Hindu community being a bit upset, to say the least, about their gods being depicted as monsters. Right, now, oh yes, this little guy, he's quite funny. What's he called? This is what I'm reading from the monster description sheet that you used to get with your monsters. It's a Katoblipa, a beast who walks with his head near the ground. If you look into his eyes, you die. So whatever you do, don't look into his eyes. Moving on. Right. This one is an English monster, so I'm quite interested. It's Herne the Hunter. I've sort of vaguely heard of this, but I'm not entirely sure. Excuse me. He's England's most famous ghost, clad in deerskin and a stag skull helmet, and he lives in Windsor Park. There he is. Wasn't he a villain in Spider-Man? I think I might be getting confused. Oh, how many points is he? He's 20 points, that's quite nice. This is a Gorgon, an ancient Gorgon. Hideous maiden with snakes for hair, golden wings, bronze claws and glaring eyes. And she's also 20 points, quite nice. This, oh no, hang on. I got my monsters wrong. Look at this. This is an ectoplasmic phantom. A spirit in the physical world who produces the otherworldly ectoplasm to overcome victims. I think they've maybe just made that up, basically. Ectoplasm, of course, is well known as a spirit thing ghosts create. But a phantom made from it? Well, an actual ectoplasm. There's another one in pink. So I've got a swapsies there. Right, yes, Ganesh. I'll go back to Ganesh. I'll read the description for Ganesh. Apparently he's a pot-bellied monster with head of an elephant and the body of a man. Well, I always thought he was a god like a compassionate and wise god, but yeah, I think Matchbox may have maybe messed up there. Never mind. Crashing on. This is an elbow witch. An Algonquian Indian monster with a very sneaky one with sharp awls or knives for elbows. There you go. You can see the sort of the Native American detailing on her shawl on the back there. And next we have if I can find him. Ooh, where has he gone? Where's he gone? Oh dear. Oh dear, 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 oh dear. Right, I'll tell you what, we'll go on to something else. Yes, this horsey. Oh, I forgot to tell you the points. The elbow witch is also 20-point monster, so that's quite nice. This is a Nukkalavi, a Scottish monster. A Nukkalavi, a horse-like creature with one eye, a human torso on its back, and no skin. Here we are. This is the monster I was looking for, the Minotaur, of course, the famous Greek monster. It's a large monster with the head of a bull and the body of a man, very fast and strong, and of course it lives in labyrinths and gets you. So there's 15 points, as was the Nukkalavi. Okay. This one, I always just assumed was death, or a Grim Reaper. Apparently, though, it's a spectre, an undead being that is semi-transparent, can scare the wits out of people. Well, I think most of these monsters could scare the wits out of you. But, yeah, he's a 15-point monster. This one was always a bit of a interesting design, with its Joker-esque kind of face and its bony back. Apparently it's called a Bloody Bones, a spirit that haunts houses to scare unwary people. Well, I would think you might be unwary if you're in a house, but who knows. Right, now we've got apparently, this is an Egyptian monster, a Sebek. It's a male humanoid spirit with a crocodile's head. Again, I don't know if that was an Egyptian god or just a spirit, but I think there is an Egyptian god that had a crocodile's face. Right, this one's called an Undine or an Undine, a sea creature who is the spirit of a woman who died by drowning and seeks revenge. It's like a sort of a ghost or a squid on her back there. What's she seeking revenge for? The sea? Or the person that drowned? I suppose the person that drowned her, maybe she's seeking revenge for that. And here we have, again, Notre Dame, and has a lot of these, gargoyles from medieval Europe. A grotesque, wide-mouthed creature found on medieval buildings that attacks people. Well, I always thought gargoyles were to scare off evil spirits, and to act as to get the water off the roof as spouts, but maybe they also attack people. Now, I think most people wouldn't have any difficulty recognising this. It is, of course, a dragon. A gigantic, fire-breathing, flying beast who is afraid of nothing. And there he is, and he's quite a powerful monster at 30 points, so that's quite nice. I always liked this one as a kid. It's a Jabberwock, an English monster who's a flying monster with long claws, huge jaws and flaming eyes. He sort of looks like got an alien's face on him there, though, and he's quite a powerful monster. He's 30 points. And here we have a generic wizard, or they call him a warlock. Apparently he's a master of magic, more powerful than wizards or sorcerers, so he's more powerful. He's got like a magic thing coming out of his hand, but for some reason it's got 2 dots on the back, like it's been bolted on. So there you go, Doctor Strange, eat your heart out. Now I've got a scary snowy monster. It's an Emir, Scandinavian, a frost giant, the first creature in the universe and can freeze anything. Next is a swamp beast. He's not a swamp thing, he's a swamp beast. A horrible humanoid creature that lives in swamps and attacks people. This one, unfortunately, I've managed to get stains on it, but it's a golem. It's a Jewish monster, a huge, powerful clay man brought to life as a protector against all evil. If I can remember rightly, you'd put some magic words inside him, and that would bring him to life. Scorpion man, Arabian, half man, half scorpion, with bow and arrow and a poisonous stinger tail, and he's 25 points. That's quite nice. Next we have... Which monster shall we have next? We shall have this monster. This is the Loch Ness Monster. Scottish, it taunts mankind with glimpses of itself, and it may be the last living dinosaur on Earth. Plesiosaur, perhaps, something like that. He's quite an amusing looking monster. A bishop fish, a gigantic sea creature who can cause storms and capsize boats. Doesn't say which country or region of the world he comes from. Perhaps Bishop Auckland. Right, I think I've gone through all the monsters I can. Oh, here's one. Here's a merrow. Like a merman. He's an Irish monster, sea fairy with a fish tail covered in scales and wears a red feathered cap. Oh, that's nice. He likes to keep fashionable and dapper, even though he's a monster. Why not? Right, so the remaining monsters, this one might be in the list, but I can't quite remember, but it's quite cool nonetheless. And he's 25 points, so he's quite a powerful monster. So that's quite nice. Yes, this one I think is an Undine. Is it no, that's not Undine. I've already done that one, haven't I? The Undine. This is a Tarask. No, it isn't. Ignore me. Anyway, it's a monster. It looks like a tree spirit of some kind, and it's 10 points. That's quite nice. This was a very rare monster. You only got this with the NES game, the Nintendo Entertainment System Monster in My Pocket game, which is a good game. It's quite fun, and it was quite a powerful monster at the time. It was 25 points. It's like a headless guy, and I remember my friend buying me that game, and I was very happy with that. And then we've got another Dr. Jekyll man. So we're moving on now. Later on, as time went on, there'd be more monsters and they do different types of things, dinosaurs and insects and whatnot. So we've got a couple of the dinosaur ones here now. This is a hard plastic. It's not nice and squishy like this stuff is. And the points value is really going up. This is a 55 point monster. Wow, that's amazing. Got a sort of like a Godzilla. I don't know how historically accurate these dinosaurs are. Probably not very. I mean, this guy's he looks like he's singing, doesn't he? Like he's oh, I am a monster and I live in the pocket of a man. He is I can't. There we are. He is. Oh my word! He is 150 points. Wow! He truly is king of the monsters. This one apparently is a Jersey Devil. I've got the card for him here. He's a super scary. These are the super scary ones apparently. He's born in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. From a gypsy's curse on a young girl, he escaped into the woods and still lives there. And he's 60 points. They've actually got paint on these ones, and they're a bit bigger than the other ones. They're still squishy though. I think this guy was from the super scary range. I don't know what he is. I think he might be something to do with a Norse god. Looks like he's... But I know he glows in the dark. He smells very unusual as well. But he's glowing in the dark. I can't remember what he's called or what he does. But he glows in the dark. He's quite cool. I got one of the later insect ones. This is some kind of spider with sort of big kissy lips, like a lady spider, and oh my word, she beats everything 200 points. So she's beaten this guy 200 points for this spider woman. And then finally they did wrestlers later on. I remember you could get them in Kellogg's Cornflakes, no, hang on, Frosties, and Tony the Tiger was the coach of these wrestler monsters. So this is one of them. He's called the Simian Smasher, and specialty move is the Ape Throw. And are they doing the points at this? They're doing points at this point. Points at this point. There must be points on him somewhere, but I can't see it. I think it's 25. According to his card, he's 25. Oh, it's on his feet. 25 points. So there you go. And then the very last monster I've got is this Joker guy, who's always used to creep me out a little bit. And he is a 50-point monster. So these are wrestlers. I don't know how much fun you could have wrestling them, because, you know, they're not movable. So I hope you've enjoyed looking at my Monster in My Pocket collection. I'm going to put them all back inside my pocket now. And thank you very much for watching.